Good evening, WorldCoin Talk community. Tonight we have an AMA with Cure Token, and the founder, Jacob Beckley, is here to speak with us. So if the first question, we could ask a bit of your background in crypto, Jacob.
Sure, absolutely. So I guess first off, let me introduce myself. I'm Jacob Beckley. I am the founder of Cure Token, and my day job, my background is that I'm the senior vice president of innovation, technology, and product for a digital marketing innovation agency here in the U.S., a very large agency. And I have been in and around crypto for many years. I think first got involved in about 2013, again in like 2016, 2017, and then most recently during the pandemic. And I actually didn't know that there was this level of crypto, the DeFi level of crypto, I just didn't know. The only thing I really knew was Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Dogecoin, those sorts of things, and have learned quite a bit since the start of the pandemic until now. But it's been quite a crazy ride, and it's been a lot of education. So the BSC space is a lot different than I had expected, but it's also very exciting.
Yeah, with the fees and everything, a lot of people are moving over to the BSC. So you launched on the 17th of September, Cure Token, and it's a very big project that you're looking, to achieve eradication from childhood cancers with the Cure Token. Can we go into a bit of that?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. This token and project is about childhood cancer research and awareness, and I've been in that space for many years. I started up a nonprofit organization here in the U.S. in 2016, which was focused on underfunded childhood cancer research and awareness. And that foundation and what I've been able to do is raise about $1 million in those 5 years, and I'm pretty proud of that. And the fact that as well, the foundation is a dollar in, dollar out foundation, meaning that there's no overhead. So all of the administrative fees, marketing, anything that goes on that's a cost center comes out of my own pocket, and I try to keep the foundation just keeping on their mission and of helping a lot of people and funding research. So it's a great foundation in the U.S. and it's in the past I've done a lot of stuff to raise money, things like putting myself out there. So things like building boats and rowing across Lake Michigan, which is a big body of water here, and just anything I can to raise money. And while I was sitting during the pandemic, the foundation wasn't able to raise money the same way that we traditionally had, which was through fundraisers and events and cocktail parties and dinners and things like that with donors. And the foundation funds coming in kind of dried up a little bit. And at that time, I was talking with my neighbor next door. He lost his childhood cancer, and I had the foundation and been so passionate about doing as much good and positive things as possible. But we were both in the crypto at that point, and I think the pandemic really ignited crypto with a lot of different communities. And we were just sitting there one night and realized, why isn't there a project that's focused on childhood cancer? And went off, did some research, and built it, named it Cure Token, and that's kind of how it came to life. So my background in there is a long background in crypto, but most recently I'm spending a lot of my time in the NFT space professionally through the business. But this project is kind of the fruition of the innovation intersection of technology and charity. And that's what crypto is. It's right at that middle. So I think this project came together pretty nice, and we're doing pretty well.
Awesome. Now, has there been two versions? You had version 1, and this is version 2.
Yeah. So this goes to show you how much I knew about the BSC space. When I launched the version 1 contract, I used the paid service to create the contract, even though I'm technically I'm capable. But I didn't know what I didn't know at that point. And one of the flaws that I did is I introduced a minting function into the project and realized pretty quickly that was a really bad idea to create a project that had that it just looks really bad, So I had to rebuild, and rebuilt it with a lot of help from some other projects that volunteered, as well as after that first contract, I reached out to Rug Seekers, which is a great group, and they connected me with a bunch of different other projects and developers, and inevitably version 2 came out, and version 2 was a fair launch, a successful launch about 40 days ago, so I got a lot of help on it, but now I think we got a really solid project right now.
Awesome, that's great. Yeah. We're all learning all the time on the BSC as well. And you're looking in the future to do a new blockchain of agnostic patient health information. How would that work?
Yeah, so this is really exciting, and this is, I tell you, I work in innovation in technology, so this is where I'm the most passionate about this, and I feel, and as I said, I spend a lot of time today working with NFTs. That's a big portion of our company today, because that's on the technology forefront for big brands throughout the world. They're trying to figure out, how do we leverage NFTs? So we're doing a lot of education, consulting, strategy work with some of the biggest brands in the world. So our future utility is something that popped in my head, that because innovation is about connecting dots from all over the place and bringing them together and then building something new. And what I realized is that I had identified all these problems and seen some different opportunities, and then one night it just all came to me and kind of all came together. So our future utility, I'm exploring 2 different paths right now, but the one I'm really excited about is the future blockchain, which is going to be a dynamic NFT blockchain. And NFTs, as we know them today, are it's a lot in the entertainment space. It's videos, it's gaming, it's 3D logos, stuff like that. But the real power behind NFTs is, in the fact that you can attach data to it. It's and they can be dynamic. So the idea that I'm exploring right now in very early development of it, but the concept's been solidified, the idea's been vetted, and now we're at the point of actually producing proof of concept. But the concept is this, and all the things around us just really come together at one time. And I'll tell a quick story. Again, referencing the pandemic, it seems like we're all going to be referencing the pandemic for the rest of our lives. I think that was a milestone. But what dawned on me is, during the pandemic, researchers throughout the world came together rapidly, and they came out with some vaccines, and quite a few vaccines, and there's still more on the way. And I like to look at things like that and figure out, like, dissect it, like what was it about that situation that made this work, that we were able to do that so quickly. And when you start to break down that scenario, you realize, it's pretty apparent that the researchers were all working together. It wasn't like they were working in pockets or silos all over the world. They were collaborating. They were sharing data. They were sharing their research findings. They were, everyone was on the same team, united, trying to get to that end goal as quickly as possible. That is not happening in cancer research. And cancer research is happening, there's some great research happening, don't get me wrong, but it's happening in pockets all over the world, and it's happening in isolation, and they're just not sharing or collaborating a lot. And I wanted to build the blockchain highway for them, for research and science, that I feel is going to change the world. Once we arm researchers with data, once we get them to collaborate and give them the tool necessary to make progress be faster, so they can go farther, faster, quicker, all of that in research, we're going to get such significant breakthroughs. And that's actually why I focus on childhood cancer as well, is because I believe that by focusing on childhood cancers, it's going to have a cascading effect throughout all cancers into adulthood. So focusing on early stage cancers, and some of the deadliest, is going to have cascading effects. So this NFT blockchain is the concept for it is this. So, one of the benefits of blockchain technology is that it's anonymous until somebody ties it to you, but it's anonymous. So NFTs can contain data. The idea is that people like you or I would opt in our information into this NFT. It would be our personal NFT that would exist with us throughout, our entire lives, And over time, we would append more information to it, health information. If you have like a rare disease, it would be rare disease research or data points on you. And it would just append health information over time. And the best part about an NFT is that every time an NFT gets sold or goes through the contract, you can get residual income from that. You can set whatever benchmark. So the idea is to reward people for participating their health information in this. And the best part is it's not tied to them, so people won't have to worry about their personal information being made public in any way. But so the idea is that people would opt in, they would get rewarded for the more data and information that they provide that's validated and embedded, and then that would exist throughout their lifetime, and then even past their lifetime. The NFTs are they have I guess an infinite existence. Once it's minted, it's there to stay. So that's the ingestion of data, and researchers and scientists need an immense amount of data, and they're just not getting it today. That's also one of the reasons why the vaccines were able to be so successful, is because the data that they were getting access to was immense. I mean, everybody was getting access to the same data, and it was a lot of data. And that needs to happen in other diseases, other rare diseases, and cancers, and just everything. So this idea for potentially calling a cure chain is probably a 1 to 3 year long roadmap of development to get this there. But this project, I think, is what's going to ignite it. And this brand of Cure is going to be the umbrella. So this future NFT blockchain, I think, it does have the potential to really be a game changer in the world in research and science. That's going to be benefiting you and I, everyone. We just got to get the data in, get the pipeline made, create that highway, and then have the researchers getting access to this and paying for the data, and just the whole thing is a kind of a win-win scenario when you look at the final utility in the real world.
Awesome. So would you be looking at the health aspects as well? I do know they did a survey with 40,000 doctors and nurses with aspirin, and that reduced certain types of cancers. And then also, the DNA technology that's advancing so fast now could be put onto blockchains and to find more cures for cancers for everyone. I mean, there have been good steps made. I think in 1990s, leukemia was 90% fatality, but now it's only 10% with stem cells. So that's been great for childhood leukemia as well. But yeah, like you say, that we do need to sort of advance it faster, and like you say, with the pandemic, the future was brought into the present. Many things changed in people's lives, and the same could be done with cancer research.
It absolutely can be. I believe it. It's been my mission for 5-6 years to do this, and it's just all coming together pretty quickly. And it's all starting to finally solidify and fall into place. And I really do believe that this is possible. I do believe it's curable. And treatable first, curable second. And like you said, with the leukemia data, that's treatable. Getting to the point where it's to the point where the percentages are less, and eventually it'll become curable. So I definitely believe in this, and I put all of my effort into it. I mean, you can tell I have the foundation. I fund these things. I mean, this is what I'm most passionate about, is making sure that at the end of the day, I leave the world in a better place than I entered it. And I want I want there to be a long-standing success. And I think this highway of research and data is the answer to that. And I think that's going to be as I said, a real game changer. The second utility that I've been exploring, and maybe it's not one or the other, it could potentially be both. But the second is that I think we need to have equal, affordable, and accessible healthcare worldwide, no matter where you're from, or no matter what your race is, or geography. Yeah. And I feel that Cure, with put into the right hands of the right people, from a strategy perspective, I feel that Cure could become the currency for universal and equal healthcare around the world. And what I mean by that is, and again, referencing the pandemic, but there was an 80% uptick in web medical visits, e-visits, because of the pandemic. That technology was around for a while, but it just accelerated the growth of access through digital means. And so now people anywhere in the world can do medical visits with people elsewhere in the world. And I think that Cure could enable that, and really find a way to make it be the currency for this healthcare. this healthcare system. There's a lot of great healthcare systems in the world. I'm not saying that this is going to replace those. There's also a lot of broken healthcare systems in the world. And, whether it's they just don't have access, they don't have the resources, they don't have the doctors trained well enough, or they just don't have enough doctors, they could be in that situation as well. So I think that this could, again, be another game changer. I mean, these are long-term roadmap goals. This is not like, I know people invest because they're wanting to see the chart over the next day grow in the next week. These are long-term, and this is where I'm spending a lot of my time because of my background and where I feel I can add the most value. Excuse me, but my day-to-day is obviously, growing this project, keeping it going, trying to keep it going up. I mean, that's why people are here. People come into this space of crypto because they want to, make their wallets larger. They want to, invest. They want to be able to, wake up in a year and see, oh my God, my wallet's quadrupled or whatever the case may be. And, I'm not, some guy who's saying, well, forget all that stuff. Let's focus on this. No, I think it's both. I think it's, let people make money, let people have the opportunity to increase their wallets and increase their profits. And at the same time, let's fund research and let's do something good as a result. And, that's been a bit of a challenge, honestly, because, I going into this space, I was pretty green in this BSC space. And I didn't realize that there were a lot of charity tokens that had already existed. And I didn't realize that at the time, like 9 out of 10 of them or more were scams and fraud or rug pulls or honeypots. And it's been an uphill battle a little bit for people to kind of, I guess, believe in a charity project again. And that's why I try everything possible to put myself out there. I'm always on video. I'm always active in the community. I've done audits and I did the KYC thing. And, I attached my foundation to it, which, that's a big risk to the foundation if something goes wrong. And so I just, I guess the last point there is I try everything I can to try to counter the sentiment in the crypto space about charity projects, because this isn't that normal charity project that is a token that said, hey, let's find a charitable component. This is a charity, a foundation that said, hey, let's build a project. So I think it's a completely different type of project, and that's definitely our differentiator as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hugely expanding market, healthcare and life extension. I've been following Audrey de Grey for many years, the SENS Research Foundation, which ties in with also looking for cures for cancer and extending people's lives. And Vitalik Buterin made a large donation there a few months ago when he was given Shiba tokens. He gave a donation there. So entrepreneurs and billionaires are very generous in offering donations and investments in projects like Cure Token. So I see on the website you've got a grant application, and you've already given out over $70,000 in the 40 days since you've launched.
Actually, more than that. Yeah, we've
right.
Actually more. We have we've raised I think about 160,000 at this point in 40 days, and actually just before I got onto this AMA. I just did another charity drop, and this was a really, really sad one, honestly. And I'm actually down because of it a bit. I'm usually more upbeat, but this was a pretty rough scenario. But there was a boy, and I'll put the story out on my website about this, but I didn't take any pictures or anything. I just didn't feel right. And this boy has terminal cancer, and is at the end of the end of his life. So he's getting treatment still, but there's really no hope at the end. And I was just so happy to be able to meet him and meet his family and all that. But I at the end of the day, the community here on Cure Token, they come in to make money and they stay because they love the vision and the project and what we do. And it's these charity drops that I think means the most, to know that the money that's coming out is actually going somewhere good and it's going great. It's going somewhere really great and is very meaningful at the same time. But yeah, so we've raised a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so companies have been approaching you and applying for grants on the website as well.
Yeah, we have not yet had any. Well, we have actually. We haven't had any companies. We did have 2 research labs that do cancer research here in the U.S. Reach out. We've had a lot of families reach out. the one gap, and I was talking about this earlier today, and I don't know what the gap is, or what's creating the gap, but we have had no international requests for grants. I've received one through email, so I did get that. But as far as the form's concerned, and I talk about it all the time, every AMA that I do, I tell people, go to the website, check out the grant application, and fill it out if you know someone in need, or you know a family that's struggling, or somebody with cancer. And
okay, no problem. He's just having to change something. He'll be back in a second.
I feel that. Always the door knocking or the dogs barking.
It is an important point that he makes, providing low-cost healthcare to all, because we all tuned in the other day with a diabetes token, and yeah, I pointed out it's $2,000 a month, which people can't necessarily afford. And then costs. Yeah.
I apologize for that.
Okay.
Real life, right? Real life.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was just saying we had a diabetes token the other day, based in New York, and they're looking to raise money, for people who can't afford the $2,000 you have to pay a month for insulin, which is terrible, which ties in with how you want to help to provide low-cost healthcare to all as well, which is very important. Yeah. So I think we was on grant applications.
Yeah. So I say in all the AMAs, I ask people to fill it out, but unfortunately there's a gap. So we need to figure that out. So if anybody here knows of any families in need, or anyone who's struggling with childhood cancer, it's a rough thing, because the parents, the whole family gets impacted. And the parents a lot of times have to take off of work. They lose income. They have very expensive treatment bills depending on where you live in the world, and it's rough. And Cure Token is there to help. That's the mission. Is to fund research and then help direct family support. So the grants application is super important. I think I just hope it gets more eyeballs on it. I mean, I'd really like to be able to do a lot more good directly to families.
Definitely. And have you looked into maybe Kickstarters as well, if families and research approach you to tie that in with Cure Token and raise money that way as well?
Yeah. So Kickstarter meaning like a GoFundMe? Is that what you're referring to? Or
yeah, there's one in the UK, Kickstarter, and GoFundMe, and quite a few.
Yeah, that's actually
to raise money.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that we're doing as well. I was reached out to by someone in the UK who knows a family, and the whole purpose is that we got to do this globally. It can't just be a regional thing. I didn't start this to only focus in the US or just Chicagoland. I want this to be a global initiative. So yeah, that's a great idea to reach out to Kickstarter or GoFundMe, things like that. So, but as well, if anybody knows of anyone directly, that form is there for that purpose. And so far, every single form application that we've received, we've granted. So it's not like we don't discriminate, on anything. It's just we just need more volume, I think, in the application amounts.
Awesome. Yeah. So we can move on to the marketing and the research going forward for Cure Token. What's going to be happening
as far as marketing? Yeah. So lots. And I think we have a differentiator on the marketing side of things. We're doing the standard crypto marketing, just like every other project does. You have to in this space. And I think we have a very robust marketing initiative happening there. But I think our differentiator is that this is a mainstream project. This is a project where a lot of our holders know nothing about crypto. And so I spend a lot of time through marketing channel. I set up an education session and workshops where I teach people about crypto, and I teach them about what a wallet is and how to buy. These are people like moms and dads and aunts and uncles and grandparents, and this is a generation that kind of missed the crypto evolution. And by doing that, we're educating, and we're bringing in holders that are probably not going to ever sell, or they're not going to be day trading, or they're just in it because they love the idea of the cause. They love the idea of the 3% going to childhood cancer, so that's awesome. So that's one of our marketing tactics is through education. And then as well, the other benefit is that because we are a mainstream initiative outside of crypto space, we're able to attract a lot of partnerships. So we're looking at partnerships with cancer institutes, research clinics, other foundations that are like-minded. There's a lot of foundations around pediatric cancer. And by doing that, we tap into their audiences and their communities. So the reach we're getting through that method of partnerships and reach out is significant. So tapping into these communities, people hear about it like, oh, I bought some Doge. I love crypto. That's the extent of their knowledge. And then they, through education, I get be like, well, there's this whole other tier of cryptocurrencies, and this is what it's about, and this is how it works, and so forth. So that's a lot of what we're doing on outreach and partnerships on that side of marketing. But then we're also doing a lot of mainstream. So we're doing press releases, articles. We've been on Cointelegraph, BSC News, Bitcoin.com, Yahoo Finance, Benzinga. I mean, all the big guys. I mean, that everyone gets on through press release. But we're getting actual articles generated as well, which is another level. Everyone can do press releases, but getting those types of organizations and groups to write articles about you it's another level, so we're knocking on doors and also having our door knocked on by mainstream media. So like, for example, Forbes. I'm going to mute my sorry about that. I'm going to mute that. But Forbes, for example, and we're trying to figure out how we can work together to get some sort of article or collaboration done with Forbes on the on their financial section. So, but I guess to answer it shortly, we're doing all of the usual crypto marketing, all the same tactics every other project is doing, but we're doing it at a large scale. And we have a machine running right now of a constant drumbeat of marketing. And then we are taking another approach because we have that advantage as being a charity project, a real legitimate charity project, that we can go the mainstream route. And I think that's going to be the game changer for us to get more people into our project. It's going to be from the outside.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I've got a question coming from Twitter from Joanne. I listened to your conversation in the group, and you guys are having a meeting in Miami, if that's correct. What's the plans you'll be doing when you're in Miami later, and what's your plans to achieve your target price?
Okay. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's right. And this is another marketing tactic, is to go out into the real world to talk about your project. So I have a speaking engagement coming up at the Miami Crypto Expo, the first week of November. And I reached out to them, and they're like, and they charge for this stuff. They charge for booths, they charge for speaking engagements. I told them about the project, and I'm like, we're a young project. I'm ambitious. I love speaking in front of people. I love this project, and I shared it with them, and they're like, you know what? Come on out. We'll invite you out. And so I'm coming out there for the speaking engagement. Also during that time, I'm not sure if you all know Smartoshi, who's a Twitter, or not Twitter, a crypto influencer. But he's also invited me to dinner as well when I'm down there, and I'm going to take him up on that offer because I just want to meet more of the community and more people in this space. And so the crypto conference is going to be amazing. They have a whole section on NFTs and then crypto, and the speaking engagement that I'm doing is actually to their NFT community, and it's a portion of what they're doing is a charitable aspect of NFT. So this will fit right inside very well with their agenda. And looking forward to that. And I'm also looking at getting to Puerto Rico the first week of December for another conference where we can talk about Cure. And this is a little known fact about our project, is that over 40% of the community that we have in Cure today is actually from Puerto Rico. I mean, it's just like the territory has just embraced this project, and really just helped us take it to the next level. And I speak with all of them all day long. Great people. And yeah, so that's just one community too, so I need to reach out to more communities and all that. But in short, yeah, so Miami's going to be the first time that we bring Cure kind of to the masses outside of the digital screen. It's going to be a pretty good time. And
with all that knowledge in NFTs, it actually ties in again with the diabetes charity token we talked to the other day. They were actually going to ask children to create NFTs, and then that could be donated towards diabetes trusts. So that's something maybe you could look at in the future.
Yeah, we actually
children and families. Yeah,
we actually are looking at that. Actually, today, well, it's been going on for a few weeks. We've been having discussions, but today. We saw the first draft of one of the NFTs that I think is going to be great. There's you know, you don't want to put children's faces on NFTs, you know, especially with terminal diseases. But however, a lot of times families do want that. You know, a lot of times they want their child to be memorialized and honored. You know, and this is a way to do that. And so it's a great idea. And NFTs are going to have so much more purpose in the world than they do today, as we you know, get further into the future. And that's just super exciting to see where this goes. And I want this project to be right on the forefront of NFT technology, and help it get out of just being, you know, the art community and gaming and sports, and get into the real world, you know, mainstream, where it can actually be very, very beneficial to everything around us.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, the next 10 or 20 years, I'm hoping that there'll be cures for most cancers, and by doing the Cure Token, you can accelerate that and bring it closer into the future to save more lives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I think there was a follow-up in that Twitter response about market cap. Was that another follow-up question?
Yeah, let's have a look. What was that question again? Yeah, what's your plan to achieve your target price? Should you have a target price for Cure Tokens? Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, in reality, I'm just shocked that we made it to a penny as fast as we did. I was thinking that was going to be the end of the year. You know, I've been very conservative in predictions, and it seems like every time I make a prediction, we 2x it or 3x it. So it's just the way this project has been moving so fast. We've been, you know, I think we got up near a 60 million market cap at one point. You know, right now we're taking, you know, about 37, 38 million. I think conservatively, we'll be at 100 million market cap probably in 2 or 3 weeks. But again, it seems like every time I say something like this and somebody holds me to it and says, no, we actually 3x'd it or 2x'd it. So I don't really know where we're going. I do know that that it's going to probably exceed my expectations.
Awesome. Yeah. So I can open it up to the rest of the team. Has anyone got a question for Jacob? No, or
Yeah,
any investors?
Yeah, I think you're doing a wonderful job. When it comes to listings and you know, and that kind of stuff, what are you expecting? Where are you expecting to get listings? And have you been investigating any of those options?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're spending a lot of time doing that. We've applied for KuCoin, Gate.io. We've had extensive conversations with Bitmart. There's also Hotbit. I mean, there's so many options of exchanges. Right. It's super important that we do it at the right time, so we don't rush into it, and we also don't wait too long. But then as well, it's also massively important that we pick the right one, you know, and it's extremely important.
I think that you make a good point with the fact that there's so many out there. It's not necessarily how many you can get on; it's which one will target the right market. So
exactly.
As long as you're investigating it and taking your time to do it, you know, I'm sure it will come, and that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, we want to be really thoughtful on this. You know, we don't want to, you know, shotgun and just go after all of them and go with the wrong ones. We want to make sure that this is a really smart decision. Like you said, you know, we got to get this project in the right hands. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, I've also, you know, I know this is an extremely lofty goal, and it's going to take a long time. But you know, Coinbase is kind of the echelon, I believe. You know, Binance and Coinbase, and I've started conversations with Coinbase because I have a direct connection into Coinbase in real life. And and this is, you know, very long ways away, but at least I'm getting the education from insider information on what are the steps that this project needs to take in order to eventually get there. And there's a lot that will need to change. You know, tokenomics are going to need to change, obviously, and that's even going to need to change just to get listed on any of these other exchanges for the most part. You know, Hotbit, for example, we would have to change our reflections within the contract, and all of that's doable. But we're moving through the process. We've had a lot of conversation about it. We've actually gone also and finalized our legal, I guess our legal review, which has been done through a law firm in Singapore. So yeah, lots happening on the exchange front. Absolutely.
Wonderful. And another thing I can see here is based on your various liquidity pools, it sits at around, you know, 500 or so thousand. With such a large market cap, how do you plan on balancing out the percentage?
Well, a couple things. So we're continually adding. You'll see that there's the BNB liquidity pool, and then there's the BUSD. The BUSD is getting added to on a regular basis manually. So I think last time I put in 40,000 was yesterday, and we're continually putting in more and more and more into it. So we're going to be doing it through just natural methods of growing in order to change that percentage. But then as well, we do have a buyback feature, which is a buyback and burn. We also have other tokens which are set aside to burn in the future. So there's other ways that we're planning on getting this more in alignment, percentages. But I think we got a good strategy for it, and we're already implementing it. So I think we're going to get there pretty quickly.
Okay, that sounds about right. And another question. So it's Cure Token V2.
Yeah.
Have you spoken about where the V2 came from?
Yeah. So the V1 was what I described, which was the kind of failed. It wasn't actually a failed project. It was actually a good project, and we were doing green every day. But I knew in the back of my head, it's not a good contract. It would never scale because of the minting function, and it required a complete rewrite. And initially, this is also another flaw in that previous contract, is that there was there was no marketing. It was only it was a burn, and it was a charity component. So tokenomics were really, really basic, and the challenge there is that the contract would only move tokens into a charitable wallet, which meant I would have to go and sell those tokens. I would have to convert those, and I would never want to do that. I never actually did it because I was always so worried about selling tokens and making the chart go red, and I just didn't want to do it. So that first contract actually generated no funds for charity, unfortunately. This new contract does auto conversion of tokens to BNB. And so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. It does it based on a percentage, and just does it in fires and forgets, which is for me a peace of mind, because now I don't have to worry about converting tokens into BNB and making the chart go red, because it just does it on automatically built into the contract. So the V1 was pretty flawed, as you could tell from different perspectives.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, when it comes to a listing standpoint or a visual standpoint when listing, are you planning on dropping the V2 name? Because I know just from a visual standpoint,
Yeah.
you're talking about Coinbase and stuff. You'd be able to list it with just the name Cure anyways. So I think
Yeah,
that's
it would just be Cure.
and I think that's a really marketable name, especially because it has such a wonderful cause behind it as well.
Yeah, and keep in mind about the cause. Today it's childhood cancer. And that's because that's what I'm so passionate about. But the future of Cure isn't exclusive to childhood cancer. It's going to grow much broader, especially as we go worldwide. So it's going to be catastrophic diseases in general, whether you're kids or adults. But the idea here is that my foundation, which can only scale so large, is going to need to partner with other foundations and other groups throughout the world in order to scale our charitable aspect. And so the tokenomics and charity piece of that's coming out of the project would go to help and support so many other groups throughout the world, as opposed to just my focus on childhood cancer would be much bigger and broader.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. It's the research is desperately needed. I know there's some amazing research going on. There's stem cell and immunotherapy, where they've cured 7 cancers in mice by boosting the immune system into when they were a younger age type thing. So every dollar you can raise and get into the researchers' hands is going to advance that more into the near future rather than 30, 40 years away.
Yeah, this is a solvable problem. I mean, you can see you're quoting the same metrics I'm familiar with. I mean, this is solvable. It just comes down to, I think the way it gets solved, honestly, is just by connecting more people to it and giving them the more ample resources and building that highway. And this sounds really lofty as well. I hate saying stuff that sounds really lofty, but I'll say it anyway. Jeff Bezos says he's building the highway to space. And that's what his vision is I'm going to build a highway, and then people are going to figure out how to use it. I think that's the same thing with this. We're building the highway for research and science through blockchain and through data. And it's up to the researchers to figure out how they can leverage this, how they can, we can enable this. It's up to them to make it happen. And I think it will. I think once they see the value of what this project will provide in the future, I think that it'll be very easy for them to get on board. So much so as, there's currently 2 research places that we've been able to support. One of them I've supported for many years, which is doing childhood cancer on the neuroblastoma, which is the deadliest form of childhood cancer. And its survival rate's very low. And it's a very aggressive form of cancer. And I believe by focusing on the most aggressive form of cancer, we're going to get the most breakthroughs, and we already are. I mean, it's a cascading effect already. So it's just great to see that that science is actually, in time is actually paying off. And then the second research group that we supported actually last week is it's a group of 80 hospitals. They have a consortium throughout the U.S. and they are doing gene mapping in order to figure out how to better target cancer cells even before it becomes cancer. And they're having a lot of breakthroughs. And there's a lot of papers great papers that they've written and provided. But I think it's these types of groups, finding them, finding the ones that are doing really good breakthroughs and really, in it for the right reasons, and then figuring out how can we amplify that? What can we do to speed this up? And it's going to come down to the sharing information. It's going to come down to connecting the right people and just making information and data accessible, I believe is the answer, one of the answers that's going to catalyst this, take it to the next level.
Yeah. Also, I know Elon Musk has lofty goals of going to other planets, but we need to fix this planet first. Healthcare, providing low-cost healthcare for all. Humanity coming together and amazing projects like Cure Token and the environment and everything. So this planet should come first rather than spending billions to go to Mars and places. Although very interesting is, we fix this planet first and the healthcare systems of the world, and the world will be a better place for humanity.
The healthcare systems are definitely broken, and it's not broken everywhere. I mean, some countries have great healthcare. I mean, you can't even complain about it, but some you don't, and that's not equal. And I really do, outside of this whole highway concept, I really do believe that Cure can stand for equal and accessible and affordable healthcare. It's a big problem. Big pharma companies, for example, they don't want to cure disease. At the end of the day, that really breaks their bottom line. They want to treat disease. They don't want to cure it. They cure it, then they lose customers. And they make a lot of money. Big pharma does. But I think that the way that whole problem, that whole dynamic of the way the world is balanced in healthcare needs to change from the bottom. It needs to change from the community. That's from a blockchain community, from a crypto community, from people who are not always going against the grain, but they're people who think differently and they innovate differently, and they're always thinking about different ways of doing stuff. And that's the way we're going to make a massive impact in global healthcare. And it's going to be definitely from the ground up, not from the top down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's a very, very interesting project and a noble project. I know Elon Musk, is cleaning up the environment with electric cars and stuff. And the pharmaceuticals could have got into immunotherapy in the 90s, but they put it off for 20 years. So every dollar you can raise and get to the researchers that are independent outside of that and not influenced by the pharmaceutical companies, then we can get a lot more cures and just radically change lives for children and adults alike.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree.
So have we got a hand up here, one of the investors, Rodney Albaran. Do you have a question for Jacob? Are you there, Rodney?
No, it seems not to be.
No. Okay. Does anyone else have a question for Jacob? No? Okay. We can carry on. So what's the team and the devs that you built around the project?
Yeah, it's quite extensive. Obviously it was just me when this thing got started, but we've grown a lot. I think we have, this is an old statistic, so don't hold me to this, but I think we have 85 volunteers in a variety of different capacities that are involved in the project, supporting the project in a variety of different ways. So managing either social media, creating content, creating NFTs, managing, our shilling groups, and that's actually an important point about our shilling groups. We've taken, my whole idea behind this project is that we need to be known as the transparent and the authentic project. Okay, so, and I'm transparent to a fault. I mean, I probably say way too much about what's happening behind the scenes. I probably should, but I think that people trust me, you know, and I want people to trust me, you know, so I do that. And but my point is about that, about transparency and authenticity, is that we don't go out and we're not a group that goes and spams. You know, we're not a group that, you know, I hate it when people come to my group and they're just like dropping stuff in. You know, it's like, there's a better way to do that, you know, and it's a better way to authentically reach out to people and, you know, talk about, advocate for your project, or, you know, get invited, you know, first of all. I mean, there's ways to do this that's ethical and authentic, and that's the approach that our project has taken. But to get back to your question about team, so after the B1 contract and going into the B2, I got connected with so many people, and these are really good people, because they're people that have either been in the space for a while and had bad experiences, or you know, are always out to you know, kind of get rid of all the fraud that they can find and all that. So I've been connected with a lot of people, and that's been a massive help for me, because initially I was losing a lot of money personally, because I don't actually take any money out of this. I don't have any tokens in my name. You know, everything I buy, I burn. And you know, I'm doing this for the cause, you know, so I don't get rewarded out of this financially. So initially, when this was launched, I was paying all out of pocket for marketing, because, as I said, I didn't have a marketing wallet in my first contract, and I spent a lot, and a lot of it was, a lot meaning 90+% of it was scams, you know, and I just didn't know what I didn't know at that point. But because I've assembled so many smart people, strategy people, consultants, brand ambassadors, people who are supporting our marketing and social, I mean, it's a pretty significant team now. And the cool thing is that now I don't have to get scammed anymore. I let them figure it out, because they've already been on projects and they've already learned the ropes along the way. And because of that, we've been able to really build not only a strong team, but our output is very strong and very consistent. We have some of the best influencers on our project, and we have a great drumbeat of marketing underway that now we don't have to, you know, we could do new stuff. All that is consistent at this point. So, but without the great team behind Cure, none of this would have been possible. None of this growth that we're having would have been possible. So it's a great team, and I'm sure we're bigger than 85 people at this point, but that's where we were, I think, 2 days ago.
I can imagine, yeah, many people would like to get involved. It's an amazing project, Cure Token, and your empathy shows through, and you're doxed. Yeah, and it's great. And the team and the owners have been talking in the background, and they'd like to donate 1 BNB to the charity wallet as well for the project.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate that very much. That's yeah, that's great. Let me talk about the charity wallet a second, though. You know, one of the challenges that I've been trying to navigate is, you know, because this project needs to remain authentic. Like, for example, if I ever sold a token for profit, I feel the whole project would lose its integrity, you know, completely. And but the problem with this is that, you know, we have a charity wallet that's accumulating quite a bit of money, and it's valuable, you know. So my fear, though, is that I don't want that touching any single person, you know. Like, it can't go into my Binance account and then go to the foundation's account. You know, it's got to be a straight line. So I have been working with Binance and Coinbase to figure out how to make that happen. So that's why the charity wallet's sitting there. And up until this point, I've been self-funding all the giving and grants that we've been providing. But we're figuring that out. So I got Coinbase working that out right now to get our foundation listed as a company and a 501c3 inside of Coinbase's system, so that it's a direct connection, which would be great. But you won't believe how difficult that's been of a challenge to resolve. I didn't think it would be so difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure Binance can help in that department. They've got some amazing devs and a huge team there, and that's exciting. If they could launch you onto their platform, would give you a huge boost for the research that we can do with Cure Token into the future. So let's see if anyone's got any questions for Jacob, the team, or investors. No. Okay. So yeah, if there's anything we've missed, Jacob, we can wrap it up. I can send a copy of the recording over to you. Anything you wanted to fill us in on with the project and the future going forward for Cure Token?
Yeah, I'd love to come back, in a few weeks here to do a kind of a recap of kind of where we've been versus where we are at that point, because I'm confident we're gonna continue to grow. I mean, this is a project that when people come in, they want to make money, but when they hear about what we're doing, and I think they speak to me and speak to the community, I think they believe, and they just want to stay around, and they want to be a part of this. It's going to be a great journey over the next 30, 60, 90 days, and I just can't wait for the next year, 3 years to see where we get. It's going to be, I think, pretty remarkable.
Awesome, yeah. I can say, yeah, for the owners and the team and the community here, we're quite humbled by the Cure Token project. I think people have been investing while we've been talking, which is great. Long-term diamond holders is our group, and yeah, I'm sure that everyone would like to get involved with Cure Token in an investor's way, or helping with anything for the project going forward.
I always am open to video calls, voice chats, and advice, suggestions. I mean, that's what I think my community realizes, is that I talk to everybody and anybody, even doesn't matter who it is. So if anyone wants to reach out or has ideas or suggestions or collaborations or anything like that, absolutely reach out. I'd love to ideate and talk through some things.
Awesome, yeah. And if anyone listening to the recording afterwards, we can give you the Telegram for Cure Token if you've got any questions you'd like to ask about the project. And also, we support every AMA we have here. You're open to come back in the text chat and keep our investors that will definitely be investing in Cure Token up to date with everything that's going on, and the research that you're managing to support, and just, yeah, let's beat cancer for children and adults, and just accelerate that into a better world for us all, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you very much for having Cure Token in your group. I appreciate it. I love talking about the project, and I love meeting new people and being able to share the vision of what I feel is the future. And I believe we're going to get there. But anyway, I just thank everyone. Thank you, and yeah, I'll definitely reach back out.
Thank you for coming, Jacob. Yeah, take care, and I'll send you a copy of the recording or to one of your team, and post that and pin that in our chat for our investors to listen to later. And that goes around the BSC, also to other communities we share with. So yeah, can get the message out far and wide for Cure Token. It'll be amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, take care. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.